God knows how many other drugs. This is the man with his drug addiction who's been running around making decisions about the federal government hurting people's lives, destroying people's lives. This is who's been doing it. If he had been anyone else, do you think he could be running a federal agency with this much power and be this drug addicted, this hallucinatory, this out of his mind, and making decisions affecting people's lives? Come on, folks. This is the greatest incompetence we've ever seen in American government, and it all goes and all resides on the shoulders of the president for allowing it to happen, for empowering it. It is just absolutely absurd that we have to sit here right now knowing that he still has access to all of our data, that they now have created through this EO, and even though it went to court, the power to access election data through Doge. Folks, it's not over. This is a disaster. We got to keep fighting. Daryl?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Barbara. And interestingly, had he been any other federal employee, he would have been removed from all of those responsibilities. You know, it also raises the question of, did he have access to any sensitive national security information? Because all of that becomes part of the question of what did he have access to, and what did he do with the information that he now has had access to. We don't know the answers to those questions. We know that he was after information from the Social Security Administration. We know that he was after information from the IRS, but we don't know what the status of that information is. So, it certainly raises all kinds of questions. He certainly, is an appropriate person to be one of the stinks of the wink, as you call it. But, I have another stink of the wink, though, Barbara. The other stink of the wink, Karen, that I want to lift up is a congresswoman out of Iowa, Joni Ernst. Joni Ernst.
Oh, Lord.
Joni Ernst has this meeting, has this
oh,
meeting
my God.
in her district with her people, and they're expressing to her their concern about the cuts to Medicare and Medicaid and what it's going to mean. These millions and millions of dollars that are being cut. And one person finally stands up to her, and let's be clear, Joni Ernst is a Republican, and these are Republicans that are there at this town hall meeting, and her constituent stands up to her and in desperation says, "You don't understand. People are going to die from these cuts. They're not going to have access to their medical care. They're going to die. They're going to die from these cuts." And Congresswoman Ernst's response was, "They're going to die anyway. You're going to die anyway." And when they go to confront her, when the cameras go to confront her to ask her to expand on it and to apologize, she apologizes. Do you know where she's standing when she apologizes? She's standing in a cemetery with headstones around her. Oh, my goodness. That's one of those things. Karen, I don't even know what to say to that.
I'm telling you, I just did a Substack on it because what I did was link what her comment was, we're all going to die, and how it landed as a bad joke, and on how it underscores what their overall strategic vision is, because it serves the demographic and ideological vision that they have for the future. And when you link it back, I just think it's, as Barbara's often said, and points out that it's a eugenics campaign, right? So they can deny care, have techno authoritarianism, how we're driven by austerity, how Elon Musk is like the poster child for white futurist imagination. So when he says Occupy Mars, that ain't for us. So he wants to
that's for sure.
having all these kids, by design. I want them to look like this, speak like this, have this color hair, and all of that kind of dovetails, their whole white replacement fears, expressed by far right influencers and politicians, and then it all links back to the Project 2025 to remove access to, gender affirming care, abortion, public education, reduce Medicare and Medicaid. All of this is linked. Cutting global aid, who's that affecting primarily? And it's not, just speaking in hyperbole to say they want to try and kill us, so that they can, have this world be majority white. Their driving force is 2030 with the browning of America. So this is I always call it white man's last stand, and how they're trying to do that is to kill us off. So I think
Karen,
what you said,
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you're laying it out. Go ahead.
I just think that what she said was the tip of the iceberg to reveal what their ultimate goal is. We're all going to die anyway. Yeah, but you don't have to kill us, as Reverend Barber said the other day. You don't have to kill us.
Reverend Barber, as always, Bishop Barber, we love you. Thank you for bringing the truth. The other thing that's happened in this last week that I've been really happy to see, because I felt so out there when I've been telling everybody about Curtis Yarvin, and who is the political guru for Peter Thiel, the white South African billionaire who has been funding J.D. Vance and his political career. And he is the guru for Elon Musk. He is the philosophical political guru for David Sachs, the political operational guru for Steve Bannon, believe it or not. All of these people are tied to his philosophy. And what is his philosophy? I'm so glad that the media has been calling him out and exposing him and who he is and his influence over this administration. I've been talking about it, and people have been looking at me like, what's wrong with her? But Curtis Yarvin, everybody, Curtis, Yarvin, look him up for yourself. He is a political theorist and software developer out of Silicon Valley, where all of these reactionary forces have congregated. And he is part of what they call the neo-reactionary movement, also called the Dark Enlightenment, which advocates for replacing democracy with a CEO-styled autocracy. They literally talk about wanting a monarchy, and having a king, in other words, people. They want a king to rule the United States. They want to have all of these business leaders to rule parts of the world. It is a disastrous philosophy. He teaches that democracy is dead, is what he's been hollering and what he's been promoting. The most recently is that, democracy is dead, that because he's a eugenicist and believes in dysgenics, that some people are just too dumb and to deserve to live on this earth, that they are, basically subhuman. And let me be very clear, folks, he teaches that not only is it all the black folks, he says that the worst thing that ever happened to the United States was the civil rights movement. He hates, people of color, but he also strongly thinks that a whole lot of white people have been influenced by black genetics and other stuff, and that they are, quote, not pure blood. And so every time you hear your president talking about the poisoning of the blood of this nation, think about it. That's some Yarvin eugenicist talk, some Nazi revisionist talk. People, they believe that folks should die. Don't think for a second that when you're hearing about the 14 million people who will lose their health care and be at risk of, death from lack of services and assistance and health care, don't believe for a minute that that's an accident, that that's a byproduct that they didn't see. That's what they want. They want people to die because they think they don't deserve to be on this earth. You have to join us in spreading the word. So he's our other villain of the week because he is driving so much of this, and he's beginning to go out and publicly speak. And he's bragging, if you look on social media, about some of his upcoming engagements. Folks, it's critical for us to understand the nature of what we're up against. We're up against the old school white supremacists. We're up against the revived eugenicist movement, and we're up against, oligarchy and greed. All of these forces are playing at one time and with the whole goal of destroying our democracy. Daryl, you were going to say something.
You raise a really great point, Barbara, when you talk about, them wanting to see people die, wanting to see, them sort of just getting rid of what they're calling an underclass, so that the best among them, is their feeling, will survive. But, Barbara, I had the opportunity actually to talk to Sarah Jones, right? And she's here in Santa Monica with us. And Sarah Jones has this new podcast, I guess it is, that's out talking about, America Who Hurt You, right? And one of the things that Sarah Jones lays out, and it's so appropriate and fits in so squarely with what we're talking about here, is she says, we can say now to white America, welcome to what it's like to be black in America, right? They're always out to get you, right? They want you off of this. They want you out of that. They want you removed. If we can just get rid of you, America would be so much better. And I think that's a part of what we hear happening from the Teals and the and the Musk and that whole crew, is that how can we get rid of these people that we don't want? And that's what some of this focus is. When we look at it through that lens, we have a better understanding of the policies that they're putting in place. We have a better understanding why Congresswoman Ernst would say, you're all going to die anyway. Yeah, I know how the story ends. Y'all going to die. All right. That callousness comes along with that type of philosophy, Barbara.
Because they intend to kill us. I mean, when people talk about the 1.6 million people who will die because of the closure of USAID, which was the first thing Musk did, was to close USAID. 1.6 million people will die in Africa because of that. He intends for that to happen. That's not an accident, people. That's not a negative consequence, unexpected consequence. It's a direct goal. They want to kill us. You guys got to understand that. I know it sounds so bizarre, and they think 40% of all white people in the world are also genetically inferior. So they don't mind killing white folks either. They believe if you're poor, that it's an indication of your inferiority. Smart people will never be poor. They believe this stuff. And you got to understand it, that it's not just we're not just standing up because they're attacking people of color. We're standing up because they're attacking all of us and people of color. We want you to understand the racism and fascism. When you look at this whole military parade that's going to happen on June 14th, please, right now, folks, you do a couple things for us, because we're talking about what's going on, but you have a voice here. And let's get your voices heard. We want you to do two things for us. One, dial 202-224-3121. That's 202-224-3121. That's the Congressional Switchboard. Ask to speak to your senator first, and tell your senator